Thank you very much. We are here to see how to deal with files, get details about the file. So, a file is an organized collection of contents. We've seen this in offices. Documents are organized in files. And when files accumulate, they are collected together, they bundled up into folders. And folders can be bundled up into other folders. A folder within another folder is what we call a subfolder, as we have already seen. So this collection is done logically, depending on how you are arranging your content, so that you can follow it up and have order. So next, we see parts of a file. You need to see the file has a name and other parameters to it. As usual, you're going to follow the cursor and get directed to where I'm explaining. Eric Bossa are the names. We are working with files and we're going to see the file explorer. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on this channel. Now, a file, for example, on what we are having on screen here are many things, but they are files. We can choose a file. Where my cursor is where I'm explaining. So this is an example of file, and it has a file name. As we see, when you hover the cursor over it, you can see the file type and possibly the size and other things as settings may happen. So this helps us to work with the file, particular file. So when I title a file, I'll first of all see its name and then see other parameters, the type and size and other things. Next, we have the file location, or what we call the file path, directing where the file is stored, right from the disk where the file has been stored down to the file. So we have the disk being shown, the locations, the folders and subfolders down to the file. So any file which you choose, when you run the cursor there, there's a pop-up showing different parameters, and then you can also see the file location once you activate the file explorer that we are going to see shortly. So those ones lead us to the file explorer. The file explorer is a feature that allows you to have at a glance view, an overall view of the files, comparable to a dashboard. So how do we activate the file explorer? You can use the search bar by typing word there, file explorer, and then it shows up, pops up, and we click. Then there it is, the file explorer. Then we can have different settings onto it to try and see many things about it. So once you open the file explorer, in many cases you see it in this fashion. You have three sections, 3 or 2, depending on how it is set. So we're going to look at section by section and all the points and see their functionality. Starting from the top, we have the title bar, where we have the window control buttons that we would have seen earlier, a button for closing, restore, and a minimize button that help you work with the window. So you can do what is required depending on what you want. You press the right button. Then you can also resize it to optimize the view area. Then we have the tabs that show different content that is being worked with. We can choose to work with more content and put each content in a tab for organization's sake. So there's a new tab tool button. When I activate it, other tabs open and I can have varying content in each tab that I open. I can open as many so that there's content in each of the tab that I've opened. So the active tab is shown in highlight. So the highlight tab is the one that is running, and this is what we call the display area, the content for that very tab. displays in the display area. So what follows next? We have below the title bar here, we have navigation arrows, refresh button, we have the address bar and the search feature. So we have seen the file location or file path previously, and the user can navigate your file back and forth along that file path, because the file is stored from somewhere where there is a direction starting from the disk where it is stored, as we have seen, down to the subfolders, going along. So these navigation buttons, navigation arrows, allow you to go steps backwards and forth along the file path in a way of trying to track where the file is stored. So that is the role that you will get to experience as you use when you professionalize. Then we have the address bar showing the directory, the drive, or the storage area where the selected item is. So the item that we select, its location shows up here. So when you choose something, for example, a folder, then we are shown the path of where the file is stored, a subfolder and then a folder where the folder is stored, depending on what you have selected. So once you select something on what we call the navigation pane here, the address bar shows us the direction of where that very content is, along with another detail in what we call the details pane that we're going to see shortly. You also see further locations, the location right from the disk where the file is found. So following that, we have a search feature. The search feature allows us to locate particular files if you know their names. So when you choose an item in your navigation pane, you choose a folder, and maybe you are searching for a particular file, you have to put the file name or part of the file name so that the system searches for it. For example, if I'm looking for a file with the word logo, the system will display, to return all files that have logo in their names. So this is a search word, or a search key for that matter, that I key in the search bar, and the system lifts through all that is in that directory and shows up here. So then you can select readily what you need to select. Following to that are tools that help us work with the files. You can create a new item, a folder or a file. So the file, in this case, you have to specify the file type if you are creating a new file to be added onto the directory in choice. Then we have other tools that are active once there is a selection. So those are editing tools. Once I select an item, then the editing tools show up. Cut, copy, and paste. Then rename, share, and delete. So these are only active once there's an item to be selected. And depending on what you've selected, some tools will be active and others will not be active. So the activation is according to where you've selected. You will have some tools active and some are non-active, depending on the arrangement of selection and activity. Then you have the sort feature, allows you to sort your files by name, date, type, and other things. You can also arrange into ascending and descending order and group files. You can then go to the view that allows us to arrange the viewing options. This one is a way of optimizing your space. So some areas can be deactivated or activated so that there is space according to the space that you're carrying. For example, I can deactivate the navigation pane on the left, and then I have more view in case the files are slow main. So that one is a way of optimizing your workspace. Then we have these buttons that provide more options as you're seeing them. So when you click here, there's a drop down providing you more options to work with your content. Following that is the navigation pane on the left side of the window, starting with the home tab. When you click the home tab, it activates a quick access menu. Quick access is common in applications allowing us to get things close by. What you need to work with close gets here. So this includes the folders, an overview of the folders on the PC, and then recently used files, recently accessed files, favorites, and shared. So this is a quick access menu activated by the home tab. Following next is the gallery. The gallery works with pictures. Once selected, recently viewed pictures, the pictures you've worked with can be seen and can be selected, and their details seen by hovering the cursor over them. Then you have OneDrive. OneDrive is the cloud service for the operator Microsoft. In case you are working with the drive, with clouds, if you need to upload pictures to the cloud, upload content, you activate this point, and you must have an account with Microsoft to work with the drive. That one is another lesson, cloud computing. Following below here, this section are what we call libraries. Libraries are an arrangement classifying the file types. The files are classified by their type: downloads, documents, pictures, audio, video, and other folders that are recently seen. So here, the items are pinned onto this pane. You can unpin by right-clicking, and there's an option of unpinning from the quick access. So this is the quick access section. Following here is this PC. This PC allows you to see the drives, the devices and drives on which data is stored onto the computer. So you can click on them to see the content therein. Following is the network. If you need to work and share files on other computers, you start here. We're not on the network, but we'll be seeing connections to other computers. Networking is another lesson. Then, what follows is the display area. Once items are chosen, the display area shows what is selected. And what is selected here in the navigation pane is in highlight. So depending on what you've selected, the display area will show. But if you have displayed items in a particular window, a particular folder, we shall have a bar here that activates a heading bar, a header bar, that allows you to see parts of what you've selected. So here we have a name, size, and other things. So once you right click on this, it is already in columns. We have a column here, and another column is size, a size column and name column. So once you right click on the name column here, we can see other items that can be activated. File details, content details, you can show date, you can show file type, and other things you can keep on activating. So then for that matter, you need to fit. If content is not being displayed fully, you need to resize the column width. So you can right click and size the column to fit. Or you can choose to size all the columns. So here, besides an individual column, the column in question, the active column, but here you size all the columns together. So the system makes up for the content that is not in view. So this is done depending on your view area, the area that you are carrying. So you can resize the columns, then you can choose what to show up and other items that may be necessary, dictated by the work that you are carrying on. So that is the display area. In addition, we have drop downs on each header so that you can see further. So there is a caret that doesn't display until you run the cursor there. When you run the cursor, the drop down caret displays and can have more to that particular heading. We then head on to the status bar. The status bar shows us the number of items in a folder that is selected. Once you select a folder, the number of items and item count shows up here, and the state of the item that has been selected. Then as we get away close, the file explorer status bar has this end on the right that allows you to display the content. The display area and the content can be displayed as a list. There are two buttons here, one for displaying content as a list, another one for displaying as thumbnails. Thumbnails are miniature views of the file, and once content is displayed and you run your cursor there, it has a means of selecting it. Once it is selected, a checkbox is ticked to show that content is selected. So you can select content or groups of content and act on it, say to edit it. So all those features allow you to conveniently manage your files. Keep subscribing, like, and comment on the channel. Thank you for tuning.